On May 12, 2017, at exactly 7 a.m., a single file was released onto the internet. Within 1 hour, it had crossed into 74 countries. Within 6 hours, it had infected over 100,000 computers. Within 24 hours, it had brought hospitals, banks, and governments across 150 countries to a complete standstill. Nobody clicked anything. Nobody opened any email. Nobody did anything wrong. The attack came on its own, found its victims on its own, destroyed everything on its own, and it could have been stopped by a free 5-minute update that most people ignored. This is the story of WannaCry, and this is how one 22-year-old man stopped it for $10.96. To understand WannaCry, you first have to understand the weapon that created it. And that story begins not with a criminal organization, not with a rogue hacker, but with the most powerful intelligence agency on the planet, the National Security Agency of the United States of America. The NSA had discovered something extraordinary hidden deep inside Microsoft Windows. A vulnerability so severe, so dangerous, that whoever controlled it could access virtually any Windows computer on Earth without the owner ever knowing. This was not a small flaw. This was a master key to hundreds of millions of computers simultaneously. The NSA named it Eternal Blue, and instead of telling Microsoft, instead of warning the public, instead of doing anything to protect the hundreds of millions of people whose computers were now vulnerable, they built a weapon out of it, and they kept it secret for years. Then they lost it. In 2016, a mysterious group appeared online calling themselves the Shadow Brokers. Nobody knew who they were. Nobody knew where they came from. To this day, nobody knows their true identity. But what they had was the most terrifying arsenal of cyber weapons ever assembled. They claimed to have stolen directly from the NSA itself, and to prove it, they began releasing those weapons online, one by one, for the entire world to see. Security researchers panicked, governments scrambled, and somewhere in Pyongyang, North Korea, a team of government hackers was watching very carefully. On March 14, 2017, Microsoft quietly released a security patch that fixed the Eternal Blue vulnerability. The patch was completely free. All anyone had to do was update their Windows system. It took 5 minutes. But millions of computers never updated. Hospital networks running outdated software, government machines nobody had touched in years, banks still using Windows XP from 2001, old forgotten servers keeping critical systems alive, all of them still vulnerable, all of them waiting. The group that weaponized Eternal Blue is known as Lazarus Group, a team of elite hackers operating directly under the North Korean government. Lazarus Group took the NSA's stolen weapon and built something new with it, something that had never been seen before. They called it WannaCry, and on May 12, 2017, they released it into the world. WannaCry moved like nothing anyone had ever seen. Traditional viruses needed human error. Someone had to click a bad link, open an infected attachment, download something they shouldn't. WannaCry needed none of that. It scanned the internet automatically, searching for vulnerable computers. The moment it found one, it used Eternal Blue to slip inside silently, without a single click. Then it did 2 things simultaneously. First, it encrypted every single file on that computer, every document, every photo, every database, every medical record, every financial file. All of it locked behind military-grade encryption in seconds. Then it displayed a message on the screen, a bright red ransom note. $300 in Bitcoin to unlock your files. After 3 days, the price doubled to $600. After 7 days, everything would be deleted forever. The results were catastrophic. In the United Kingdom, the National Health Service was hit so hard that hospitals had to turn patients away. 48 NHS trusts were affected simultaneously. Doctors lost access to patient records mid-surgery. Operations were cancelled. X-ray machines went offline. Ambulances were diverted. People with life-threatening conditions were turned away because the computers holding their medical history were locked behind a ransom screen. In Spain, Telefónica watched their entire internal network collapse in real time. In Russia, the Interior Ministry lost over 1,000 computers in hours. In China, universities and government offices went dark simultaneously. FedEx, Deutsche Bahn, Renault, Nissan. Some of the largest companies on Earth brought to their knees by a piece of code exploiting a vulnerability the NSA had known about for years. Within the first day, over 200,000 computers in 150 countries were infected. Governments were scrambling. Security teams around the world were working around the clock trying to understand what WannaCry was and how to stop it. And they were failing. Nobody had seen anything move this fast. Nobody had a solution. The world was watching a digital apocalypse unfold in real time, and nobody could stop it. And then a 22-year-old man, sitting in his bedroom in Devon, England, opened his laptop. His name was Marcus Hutchins, a self-taught cybersecurity researcher who went by the online name Malwaretech. Marcus had been tracking WannaCry since the moment it appeared. He was analyzing the malware code line by line, trying to understand exactly how it worked. And then he noticed something strange. Hidden inside the WannaCry code was a web address, a long random string of characters that served as a domain name. Marcus checked if that domain was registered. It wasn't. On a hunch that took him less than a minute to act on, Marcus registered the domain himself. It cost him $10.96. The moment that domain went live, something extraordinary happened. WannaCry stopped. Completely. Instantly. Globally. Every active infection froze. The spread halted. New computers stopped being infected. The most destructive cyber attack in human history ground to a halt because a 22-year-old in Devon had spent $10.96 on a domain name he almost didn't bother registering. The kill switch stopped new infections, but every computer already infected remained locked. Damages estimated between $4 and $8 billion. Hundreds of thousands of patient records lost. Surgeries that never happened. And the people responsible. The Lazarus Group. The North Korean government hackers who built and released WannaCry. Never arrested. Never faced justice. They walked away, completely free. Then the story took one final twist. In July 2017, Marcus Hutchins flew to Las Vegas for DEF CON, the world's largest hacking conference. As he prepared to board his flight home, FBI agents approached him at the airport. He was arrested, not for WannaCry, but for allegedly creating a different piece of malware years earlier. The man who saved the world was arrested by the government of the country whose intelligence agency had created the vulnerability that made the attack possible in the first place. Marcus eventually pleaded guilty and was sentenced to time served. He avoided prison, but the message was clear. Here is what WannaCry means for you right now. Every single one of those 200,000 infected computers could have been protected with a free 5-minute update. The most destructive cyber attack in human history was preventable. Not by governments, not by intelligence agencies, not by billion-dollar security firms, just by regular people keeping their software updated. The vulnerability existed because the NSA chose to weaponize it instead of report it. The attack happened because millions ignored a free patch, and the man who stopped it was punished while the people who caused it walked free. WannaCry wasn't just a cyber attack. It was a mirror held up to everything broken about how the world handles cybersecurity. And the reflection was ugly.